Once upon a time, a baby girl was born in a palace. The baby had golden brown eyes and downy black hair, and a nose that was far, far too big for her face. When her father, a courtier to the king, saw her, he beamed with pride. Her mother, however, was silent. From Lady Longnose. October 1760. London. Private libraries were extraordinary, Lady Elspeth de Moray mused. To have an entire room filled with books in one's own house seemed quite fantastical. If she had a library, she would never leave. She'd eat, sleep, and daydream surrounded by stories, and be completely happy. Footsteps sounded outside the door, rapidly coming closer. And, more practically, a library held a multitude of excuses right at hand, should a lady be discovered skulking in one. Elspeth reached for a large book and opened it, perching on the library ladder as she did so. Just in time, as it happened, for a tall, severely handsome gentleman to slide into the Duke of Windemere's library. His eyes narrowed as he spotted her. "What are you doing here?" His tone was not friendly. Actually, if one were to be frank, his voice was rather icy, which was a pity, since he was otherwise intriguing. His black hair was braided into a long queue, and he wore a grey pearl earring dangling by the sharp angle of his jaw. Elspeth met his gaze. His clear grey eyes were the same colour as his pearl earring, beautiful and almost otherworldly. Unfortunately, he looked at her as if she were a bit of manure he'd just discovered adhering to his shoe. Humph. "I am reading," she replied loftily to his question, and then glanced down at the book. She blinked in surprise. A rude engraving covered the page. The gentleman walked to her, his movements graceful, sinuous. He reminded her of a viper, gliding toward a particularly plump sparrow, the sparrow in this case being she. He stopped in front of her, so close Elspeth could see the small wrinkles at the corners of his eyes when he narrowed them again. "Are you?" His gaze flicked down to the illustration of a couple? Possibly 2 couples? There were a confusing number of limbs. One ebony eyebrow rose censoriously as he looked back at her. "Reading, that is?" Quite unfair that she was unable to raise her eyebrow in return. She felt heat invade her cheeks. "Yes." His mouth twitched irritably, and she couldn't refrain from staring at his lips. They were thin but perfectly formed, the Cupid's bow wide and defined, the bottom lip just a fraction plumper.